You ever notice how the second you want something desperately, it just seems to get further and further away? It's a strange, super frustrating paradox, right? But here's the thing, this isn't some kind of cosmic curse, it's psychology. Today we're going to break down this very common pattern of self-sabotage. Yeah, this is the big question, isn't it? It's that feeling when your own ambition and your own anxiety kind of team up to become the very wall standing in your way. We're going to dig into exactly why this happens, and more importantly, what you can actually do about it. So here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to kick things off with this paradox of wanting. Then we'll meet your inner saboteur. Yep, you've got one. We'll look at a perfect case study in how spells go wrong. Then we'll get to the secret sauce, the art of forgetting. And finally, we'll see how this concept isn't just for magic. It's a pattern that shows up pretty much everywhere. Okay, let's dive right into our first topic, the paradox of wanting. And this leads us to a really core idea that comes from a pretty interesting source, chaos magic. And it has this fantastic name, lust of result. This right here is the whole key. Lust of result isn't just, wanting something. It's that needy, obsessive, anxious attachment to getting it. It's all the doubt that creeps in after you've set your goal, and that tension is the very thing that blocks the path forward. And this leads us to what you might call the paradox of tryharding. You know what I mean, when you're constantly checking for progress, worrying if it's working, trying to mentally force it to happen. Well, you're not sending a signal of confidence, not at all. What you're really screaming at your subconscious is a message of lack and doubt, a constant, nagging reminder that you don't have it yet. This comparison just nails the difference. Your intent is absolutely crucial. That's the clear, focused goal you set. It's like losing an arrow from a bow, one clean, powerful action. But attachment, that lust of result, that's like frantically running after the arrow you just shot, trying to steer it in midair and worrying if it'll hit the target. You're not helping it, you're just interfering with its flight. So what is actually happening up here in our heads to cause all this? Well, it's time to meet the culprit. Let's talk about your own inner saboteur. Every single one of us has what's called a psychic sensor. Think of it like a security guard or a bouncer standing at the door of your conscious mind. Its main job is to protect your stable, comfortable view of reality. It analyzes everything coming in, and if something doesn't fit, if it seems illogical or impossible, it just gets rejected. Nope, not on the list. And this is the process of self-sabotage in 4 easy steps. When you hold on to a goal with all that anxiety, that's lust of result, remember? You're keeping it right there in your conscious mind. The psychic sensor sees it, asks its favorite skeptical question, how is this even possible? And since it can't find a logical A to B path, it just concludes it's not, and basically cancels out all your hard work. So here's the crucial takeaway. Your conscious, analytical mind is simply the wrong tool for this kind of job. The whole goal is to delegate the task, to hand off the intention to your powerful, creative, subconscious mind to figure out. But lust of result prevents that handoff. The work order never gets sent to the right department, so of course, the work never ever gets done. Okay, let's make this way more concrete with a real-world example. We're going to look at a technique that was literally designed to avoid this problem, and we'll see exactly how loss of result can still break it. So a sigil, in a nutshell, is a statement of intent that you've scrambled and turned into an abstract symbol. Basically, a weird-looking glyph. The entire point of doing this is to create something that your rational mind, that psychic sensor, won't recognize and immediately start trying to pick apart. It's a clever way to smuggle the message right past the guard at the gate. But here's the catch, and it is a huge one. After you've charged the sigil, after you've impressed it on your subconscious, you have to forget it. This quote says it all. It is not an optional step. If you keep thinking about the sigil and what it means, you're basically just decoding the secret message for your psychic sensor, allowing it to jump in and completely nullify the entire operation. So this brings us to the solution, right? If the problem is holding on way too tightly, the answer has to be learning how to let go. And that brings us to the practical art of forgetting. Now, we're not talking about amnesia here. Magical forgetting is an active, strategic process. The goal is to cultivate a state of genuine indifference. You basically treat the goal as a task that's already done and dusted, removing it from your conscious mind's to-do list so your subconscious can finally get to work without being micromanaged. And here are some pretty clever psychological tricks to actually do that. You can immediately redirect your attention to something totally boring, like doing the dishes. You can destroy any physical evidence, like burning the sigil, so you can't obsess over it. You could even launch a bunch of goals at once to make it harder for your conscious mind to fixate on any single one. And finally, a simple ritual. Even just clapping your hands and saying out loud, "It is done," can be a powerful signal to your entire mind that the job is finished and it's time to move on. Now, I know some of this terminology might sound a little bit out there, but this underlying principle is absolutely universal. It shows up in so many different systems of thought. Just look at how this same dynamic plays out everywhere. In chaos magic, you're trying to bypass the censor. Well, anxious attachment is what stops you. In the law of attraction, they warn you that focusing on lack just attracts more lack. What is lust of result if not an intense focus on what you lack? And in the law of assumption, you're supposed to feel the wish as already fulfilled. Lust of result is the exact opposite of that. It's the feeling that your wish is painfully unfulfilled. It's the same problem, just with a different coat of paint. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you call it. The core mechanism is always the same. Overattachment, which is fueled by your own conscious anxiety, is what sabotages the powerful background work of your subconscious mind. So what's the big takeaway from all this? First, your own anxiety is often your greatest obstacle. Second, the whole game is about moving an intention from your critical, conscious mind to your powerful, operative subconscious. And most importantly, remember that letting go isn't passive hope. It is a strategic, powerful action you can take to clear the path for your own success. And that leaves us with one last thought. Think about a goal that you're struggling with right now. What do you think might happen if, after setting your intention with total clarity, you found a way to truly, strategically let it go? What could you achieve then?